Hi everyone, and welcome back to a new video. Today's story shows us how significant it is to focus on people around us, whether we know them in person or not. It could be anyone, like your neighbor who you see every morning, or some homeless person on the street. Welcome back to our channel, where you can learn about really interesting stories with valuable lessons. Make sure to subscribe and hit the notification button to stay updated with our new videos. Each person has their own issues in their everyday life, and that's okay. But the point here is, we should be kind to everybody, regardless of their situation. Also, everyone is aware of the fact that light comes after darkness, always. Our hero for the day is Greg Smith. He's 25 years old and lives in Orlando, Florida. He's a typical American family man with a normal life. He's an accomplished fitness trainer and a top-notch sales manager. He's a caring spouse with 2 sons. Each morning, he rushes to work like everyone these days. His office is in Orlando. You may be familiar with Orlando Center, which is usually crowded and full of homeless people. Furthermore, when these homeless people see a respectable man, they start begging. At times, Greg would give them a few dollars, and at other times, he would just pass them by. Every person does this. However, Greg was particularly intrigued by one lady. She smiled at Greg each morning and wished him a lovely morning or a great day. She never asked him for money like other people. As Greg said later on, my heart felt warm each time I heard those caring words. This continued on for a couple of months. As Greg was hurrying to work every morning, he heard some thoughtful wishes from a homeless lady. Her remarks always stimulated his energy. One day, Greg decided to stop by her. Her name was Amy Jo, and Greg discovered that she was the quiet type, yet an intriguing talker. She wasn't rude at all. He gave her a few dollars, which she refused at first. But Greg insisted and she eventually accepted. Greg chose to visit Amy again the following day after work. He found out that Amy purchased a magazine and a book with the few dollars that he gave her. Thus, he decided to keep visiting her. He began bringing food to her, but Greg decided that he needed to do something more. So one day after lunchtime, Greg decided to visit Amy and offered her lunch at a nearby cafe. Greg requested that she choose anything on the menu, but he was really stunned by her answer. She answered, "I can't read the menu." He thought that perhaps maybe she didn't want to burden him. He assumed that she was embarrassed to go for something expensive. However, the truth was not easy for Greg to accept. Amy really couldn't read or write. He then discovered that she spent the cash on books and magazines because she really wanted to learn how to read and write. After learning her story, he was so intrigued and he decided to teach her. Greg found out that Amy spent her childhood without parents. She moved between different shelters, which was why she never became familiar with the educational curriculum of primary school. Later on, she began looking for low-paying jobs. However, each manager declined her after finding out that she was illiterate. So, she eventually ended up being a homeless person on the road. Greg was so amazed and astounded by the fact that numerous people on the road could read and write, yet they didn't do anything to change their lives. Additionally, most men are perfect for physical work, yet they refuse to work. Amy, on the other hand, was a lady who wanted to learn and create a better life for herself. So, Greg decided to teach her each Tuesday. He invested a great deal of time and energy in order to become a capable teacher. Furthermore, Amy was a grateful and intelligent student. They both met and talked in the restaurant for a few months. They shared stories about their lives and did homework. And in no time, Amy learned how to read. However, she wasn't so sure of herself yet. Greg would always incorporate a new lesson into their everyday routine. He took one new book from the library each Tuesday and read it with Amy. Greg then began bringing his wife and children every Tuesday. They spent time with each other and enjoyed it. Greg and his wife helped Amy. By doing so, they were an incredible example to their children on how to help others achieve great things in everyday life. The staff of the restaurant didn't like the idea of a homeless lady in their vicinity at the beginning, but then they began offering them discounts. Eventually, the restaurant began giving them free meals on the house. Soon enough, Greg's difficult work paid off. Amy left behind the homeless life and began to accomplish her ambitions. Greg even paid for her rent at the hotel for the first month. Amy started crying because she never thought anybody would possibly assist her with such a huge thing. Greg didn't stop there, and he kept teaching her for about 6 months. The story doesn't end here. Greg additionally made a GoFundMe page for Amy and earned her a few $1,000s from that. After a couple of years, Amy was able to get a great job and perfectly support herself. She still meets Greg and his family, sometimes at his family's home. Greg shared his story on Facebook, trusting that it would inspire others to help the homeless. If more people were willing to help each other, the whole world will soon become a better place. Greg doesn't consider himself to be a legend, nor does he think that he accomplished something heroic. He believes it's ordinary to help other people. He says that his parents were the ones who trained him to help people in need, which is also why Greg needed to teach his sons to do the same. Taking a look at Greg and his family and what they did for Amy, you'll realize that kindness isn't only a thing of the books. It exists in the real world too. Every one of us can do a little beneficial thing for others. What do you think of this story? Did you like the ending, despite all the trouble Greg had to go through? Share it with us in the comments below. That's it for today, friends. Like this video and share it with your friends. Make sure to subscribe to our channel for more wonderful stories coming your way on a regular basis. See you in the next video.